Hey Michigan fans, welcome back to the Fool Show. I am Foolish Phil. Another Saturday of misery concluded with a defining, convincing would be the better word, a convincing loss to the Indiana Hoosiers 38-21. Indiana could do whatever they wanted. They could pass the ball all over the place. Our corners were there to make plays and didn't make plays. It's just that simple. I think the coverage was a little bit better, and they tried man coverage. The cornerbacks were on the players, the wide receivers, but they couldn't do anything. The wide receivers would make great catches. The DBs never made the plays to break them up. In the fourth quarter, when Indiana wanted to run the ball, couldn't stop the run. It was almost like an Army game to me of last year. It was 2 years ago. It was last year, but it's like they just ran the ball, and you could not stop them. 4 plays, they were going to get a first down. So I was just, their Penix Jr., Indiana quarterback, 30 of 50, 342 yards, 3 touchdowns. I again think there were 0 sacks. We did. I don't want to say we. Michigan did get more pressure in the second half. A few forced throws. Michigan could have had 2 picks in the game, especially that one when Michigan was up by 10 points. The throw right down the middle, I think it was Hawkins, went up and tried to catch it off his hands. Dax Hill was just sitting right there ready to catch it. It would have been most likely an interception by Hill and would have been a good return. Michigan is not a good team. Frankly, they're not a good team. And for a not good team to win a game, lots of things have to go right. And when you have tight ends dropping first down passes, you have 13 rushing yards. 13 rushing yards. You're not going to win games. You have wide open receivers. The quarterback can't hit them, right? The one deep ball, he overthrows wide open. I think it was Ronnie Bell, right? That would have been a touchdown. I think would have got it down to 3-point lead. If you're not a good team, you cannot miss opportunities. And Michigan is just missing opportunities. They're not getting turnovers. They're not taking advantage of open plays. And you're not going to win games doing that. And that's what you're seeing. Listening to the radio broadcast on the way back home, just hearing the Michigan announcer saying, lots of people are enjoying the misery of Michigan, and it's been a while. It hasn't been terribly long. Rich Rod years, 3 and 8 years, right? 5 and 7 years. Me and my brother were sitting around talking a little bit, like, how many wins does Michigan even get this year? You're thinking, Maryland maybe, and Rutgers maybe. So you're thinking you're going to have 3 wins on the year? 3 and 5? I mean, if Wisconsin has a quarterback, they'll win the game. If Penn State has a quarterback, they'll win the game. I'm even throwing that in Rutgers and Maryland. If they have a quarterback, they'll win the game. You look at, no disrespect to Michigan State, they just went out and got destroyed by Iowa. They beat Michigan last week because they had a quarterback who could throw the ball downfield. I think Rutgers and Maryland will have a quarterback who can throw the ball. Right now, Michigan just can't do anything to get itself off. Really, Michigan was somewhat in the game in the second half. Down to 10 points. There were a few key plays there. It was like 3rd and 10, and Gray did another pass interference when it was just a terrible throw. It wasn't going to be complete. And he interfered with him. I get it. It was a penalty. He's got to have more ball awareness. Later then we get the ball back. Michigan gets the ball back. Have that bomb to Bell. Misses it. Later, the missed interception by Hawkins/Hill. It's like, they're just not there. The plays aren't being made. And I don't know. The offense is doing okay, but they just can't get the ball rolling. Did you see that Michigan was averaging more yardage on 3rd? Like, it was like 3rd and 9.2. Last week it was like 3rd and 8 point something versus Michigan State. So Michigan actually did worse this week on 3rd down average than last week. That's not going to win the game. Getting 1 yard, again, a stupid run up the middle. Me and my brother watching the first play of the game, like, what's it going to be? Run up the middle. Boop, boop, there it is. The offensive line is getting no run push at all. Nothing. It is what it is. This team just can't stop the run. This team can't stop the pass. That's not going to be a formula for success this year. Oh, it's going to be a terrible year. At least in a normal year, you get your like cupcake wins in theory versus Arkansas, Pine Bluff, or some MAC team, right? I don't know. This is just going to be a miserable year. You just hope you get a win or two more. Just develop some players, because this is just junk. It's just complete trash right now. The offense and defense. The plays are there. They're just not making them. So I guess you can look at it that way. At least they're somewhat in the game. But not really. All right. Credit to Indiana. I don't think they ever really felt threatened. They never really lost the double-digit lead, right? It was the closest they got was 10. Boy, Michigan gets a play here or play there. They make that throw. They make that interception. You get it down to 3. All of a sudden, now, is Indiana going to flinch? But they didn't. Credit to them. They did not flinch. They got the win. Well-deserved win. They played a great game. The funny part is, right, they're number 13 in the country. Michigan's number 23. Don't get me wrong. Enjoy the win, Indiana. But why are people surprised that Indiana won? They should have won that game. But why is it such a big deal that Indiana won? They should have won that game. Number 13 versus number 23. Just because there's a 24, 23 game winning streak has nothing to do with this team this year. Nothing to do with it. So I always wonder why they bring up those streaks. It has nothing to do with all those teams from years past. Every year is a new year. So we'll see how it goes. What a crazy year. Penn State loses their streak against Indiana. Michigan loses their streak against Indiana. I want to see Indiana versus Ohio State. I just want to see it, because Indiana looks decently good. Don't get me wrong. They look like a decent, good football team. Definitely the second best team in the Big Ten to me. So that's really the game of the year now in the Big Ten. Indiana and Ohio State. I think Ohio State rolls anyone in the West. I don't know how. It'll be interesting to watch. I will watch that game. It's like 2 weeks away. Assuming it happens. Hopefully no COVID stuff. Sick of all this COVID stuff, shutting down stuff. Just a little rambling, a little vent. Michigan's not good. Michigan is not a good football team. I don't know who's betting on them to win games. Michigan was favored in this game. Who's putting money on Michigan? What lunacy do you have to put money on Michigan? You're crazy. Michigan's not a good team. I don't know if that means we move on to a new coach as a university or what they're going to do. But they're not getting it done now. What's going to happen from here out is going to be interesting. Let me know your thoughts about the game. And as always, I appreciate the new subscribers and the comments. I try to respond as I can. The last video against Michigan State did very well. I appreciate that. Usually when Michigan loses, I get a lot more views. We'll see how this one does, huh? Yeah. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week. And even though I don't think they'll win, go blue.